A lot of people here, very excited. Just wanted to kick it off and introduce myself. You may know me from a few projects. I'm Derek Kolstad. I run Daily UI and remotejobs.com. And I wanted to bring together a fun event for designers, developers, creative people. And so today is AI for agencies. We've got a really great guest lineup. We have Marketing Max, who's founder of marketingmax.com and Agency Reviews. We have Marko Illic, he's the founder of C Design. Wes Bancroft, co-founder of Work Inc. Blake Emal, founder of PageTear. And Ben Issen, one of the co-founders of Side School. And before we get into it, we'll do a basically 5 to 10 minute discussion per person, see their use case for AI, and we'll wrap up with a quick Q&A. And before we get to that, I want to do a brief intro and thank you from our sponsor, Rome, the Office of the Future.
Over the next few years, every business is going to either become an AI-first business or be disrupted by one. But what does it mean to be an AI-first business? We all use ChatGPT, but how can you apply AI within your company to become an AI-first business? It starts with an AI-powered office. We made Rome to make it simple for any business to become an AI-first business overnight by incorporating a company visualization with presence, drop-in meetings, video conferencing rooms in a theater with AI-powered meeting notes that can trigger agentic workflows where AI agents can begin to do basic tasks like scheduling, sending emails, and farming out information. With Rome, your business can become AI first overnight. Nobody knows what the future holds, but I do know this. It's going to be built in the office of the future. It's going to be built in Rome.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to do a quick round table. As you see, we have Blake and Mal up here with us. We have Ben Essen, Wesley Bancroft, Marketing Max, and Marko Illic. Thank you, everyone. A lot of people looks like they've discovered the Romojis in the toolbar. Feel free to hit those and have fun and interact and say hi in the chat on the sidebar. And with this, I will kick it over. And maybe we'll start with, would you like to start us off, Max? A quick intro on yourself.
Happy to. Thank you for the drum roll. No pressure after the nice drum roll. Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Derek for inviting me to this. Hello, guys. My name is Max, or better known online as Marketing Max, across the 250-something thousand people that follow me across TikTok, Twitter. My main business is I run a newsletter business. 117,000 people read my newsletter every single day. But before I launched this newsletter, I had a Facebook and Google Ads agency, probably similar to a lot of you guys, or you all might work with some Facebook or Google Ads agencies. I started mine in 2017, sold it to a private equity fund 4 years ago, and then started creating content online as Marketing Max, building the newsletter business. And about, 4 or 5 months ago, I launched my second agency that is really powered by AI. So a few of the use cases and ways that I'm personally using AI, kind of this go around to increase our profit margins, is we're doing a lot of AI automations the moment someone signs up. So when someone signs on to work with our agency, we send them to a type form where we ask them 20 or 30 onboarding questions. At my old agency that I sold, we used to have like a 2-hour onboarding meeting. We did away with that. We replaced it with the type form. And the benefit of that is now the moment someone completes the type form, all of their answers are automatically dropped into a custom GPT that we built to analyze all of their goals, all of the details about their target audience, and give us our own brief to better understand how we can help them, what they're looking to do, and kind of synthesize and update the data to better fit exactly the needs that we have. From there, it then spits out a list of topic ideas, because the current agency is a newsletter agency. So funny enough, I created a team that does what I found success doing for the last 3 years for a lot of businesses. And so it spits out 20 to 30 different content ideas. Then one of our human editors goes in, cleans up the list, updates the list of ideas. We share it back with the client, and the client gives us feedback, and then we just go from there. So I'm happy to go into as much or as little detail as you guys want, or as you guys have questions about the onboarding flow, but that's just scratching the surface of how we're using AI to better educate our team, our internal team of writers, and then also make it easier for us to not have to get on a 2-hour meeting to ask a bunch of questions and better understand what they're trying to do, especially when we work with so many different clients across so many different disciplines. So, we have to write content for some of our clients who are development shops, and we need to know all the differences between CSS and JavaScript and all the complicated things that if you're not an engineer, if you're not a developer, you would have no clue. So the AI really helps us stay educated right off the bat with the new clients that we get. I don't know if that's enough, but like I said, happy to go into other details about how we're using it on.
Yeah, that was great, Max. Thank you. Great to have you. Maybe we'll pass the ball over to Marko in the corner.
Yep, 100%.
Intro on yourself and your use case as well.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, everyone. Super glad to be part of the group, and thanks for the invitation, Derek. So basically, yeah, I'm Marko. I'm founder of C Design, C the Design agency. And we're a small team, typically working on web design and product projects, helping clients really in different stages of their companies, going from building brands from scratch to actually helping with existing stuff and pushing it forward creatively when needed. So yeah, I think we just cover lots of different things and in lots of different case scenarios. So it's not just flat projects, but really jumping in different stages of the companies that struggle with lots of different things. So yeah, recently we started acquiring some of the AI stuff as well, especially going deep down in Midjourney and ChatGPT and Kling AI. Also that's more on the creative side. On the technical side, we're trying to acquire as much as possible, but still I think given that we're a smaller team, more focused on building creative solutions, I think today some of the stuff I will share will be more on that creative side of things, how we explore certain solutions and just try to emphasize and stay up with all the new tools and stuff.
Awesome. And if anyone hasn't seen Marko's work, we'll drop links to that as well. You can explore really phenomenal pieces. And with that, I will pass it back over to the other corner, Wes.
Hey, everybody. My name is Wes Bancroft. I run an agency called Work.inc, and we help other agencies to creatively distribute their work. So it's sort of this meta thing going on. Also, I went to my stylist today. I asked them to give me the guitarist from the U2 look. So that's what I'm targeting. I don't know why. Yeah, it's a really weird. I look odd in this, so I apologize. And I told myself not to screw this up. I said, "You stupid idiot, don't screw this up." And no, I'm just kidding. My grandma actually texted me that this morning. But that's neither here nor there. What we do at Work Inc. is we help creative agencies to take their existing work to essentially put it to work for them. And what we found is over the years, as a creative myself, is that I have a really hard time with sharing my work and doing it consistently. So Working kind of solves for that by coming alongside them as a agency partner. We call ourselves a distribution partner. And we use AI, probably not in the most unique way, similar ways, but I think the thing that I've learned about the mindset of using AI in the right way is we onboard clients, we take all of the information prior to the calls, prior to any sort of onboarding questionnaire. We build custom GPTs. The mindset shift that I had at Work Inc. was utilizing AI as not a tool, but as a teammate. And I've learned this from looking at different, listening to different talks, people that are much smarter than me. And that mindset shift really helped me to understand how AI is actually the future of how every agency, whether you're creative or whether you're more operational, needs to make the shift themselves so that AI can actually become more and more powerful for what it is that you're trying to achieve. So more practically, how do we use the AI at Work Inc.? Since we have to utilize assets that are existing from clients, we use a lot of Mid-Journey. Visual Electric actually has been a big thing that we've been utilizing. So we'll take assets, we'll take a brand aesthetic from an agency, for instance, and we'll start to build a visual model based on past assets. And those just act as inspiration for us to be able to create case study assets so that then we can go and share those on behalf of the agency and help them to generate more leads based on past successful work that they've done. So maybe a slightly novel way of using AI, but that might also just be because the client, the way we're interacting with our clients is a little bit more unique. So we can get more into that later, but I'll show you guys how that works perhaps in some sort of Q&A, but yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for that, Wes. I like how you say as a teammate, not just as a tool. That was really great. And it looks like we've had a lot of people that have just joined us. And if you are just joining us, after this discussion, we're going to do a quick Q&A session, and you can come up to the mic and ask a question. And each panelist, we can kind of direct it and guide it. And after that, we have co-founders of Rome standing by for a 15-minute VIP express tour if you were on the event today, and we'll have that ready for you at the conclusion of this. And next up, I might pass the ball up to Blake Emal, founder of PageTear up here.
Hey guys, saving the worst for fourth. I'm going to be the most scatterbrained AI-wise of everybody here because I run a solo agency. I basically run PageTear.com, which is kind of like Design Joy for copywriting. I guess that's the easiest way to think about it. But I also have a few other projects going on that almost fully use AI. I have a new newsletter that is almost purely AI, either fully written or helped to curate all of the content, and with extensive research, templates, workflows, the whole thing to set it all up and to run it. So can talk through that a little bit. And then on the agency side, I don't really use it a lot for maybe what you would consider the creative side. You'd probably expect on a copywriting agency to use it a ton for that, and I do use it for some things. But what I found is that the biggest use case, the biggest pain every single day for me when I'm working with copywriting clients is they can need a million different things, and none of those things are ever quite the same from one client to another. So using AI to create kind of amenable templates that I can use, whether it's in a Google Doc or a Notion doc, and formatting it toward what they need is extremely useful, because that's the big part of copywriting that nobody talks about, is all of the setup. So I'm able to use AI pretty effectively to get from point A to point B on the setup without it taking 2 hours of my time. So that's actually where I use it a ton. And then on the setup of the initial stages of copy as well, it can be helpful there, but tends to kind of give the same formulas over and over and over again. I use it pretty heavily for research as well, just given what I do. Perplexity, Grok, other tools that are not ChatGPT are pretty helpful for this, to get more accurate sourcing for interesting stats, metrics, stories, people, whatever I need to reference inside of things. So I would say 90% of the work I do is not AI. but 90% or more of the setup that's required to do that work is. And that's really where all of it comes together for me. So I've got an AI newsletter, got the agency, got consulting. AI plays a very different role in each of those three buckets for me.
Huge. That's great. That's great, Blake. And for links to everyone's websites and newsletters and socials, we'll also put those in the chat here after this as well. So if anyone is curious and maybe we don't get enough time to get to everyone's questions at a Q&A, you'll be able to follow up and follow along with each panelist. And with that, I'll pass it up to Ben Essen.
Hi everyone. So I'm Ben. I'm a designer turned founder of an AI school online based in France in Paris. I have a few use cases that I have prepared for this event. Use cases that I've seen some of the companies that join our online bootcamps to learn about AI kind of enjoy and apply to their companies. And maybe a bit of background about me. I grew up with a designer mother, designing a lot of websites, brands since I was young. And then I built a company called Super Creative that built tools for freelancers. And some of the tools that we developed used the OpenAI API, so kind of AI features inside. And then I realized how powerful this was going to be and how that was actually going to become or help people become super creative. AI, not my tools that I built. So I actually sold some of actually all of these tools, one of which I sold to Derek, who is hosting the event right now. And now I work on Site School, and we do online boot camps to train people to apply AI to their jobs. And one of our boot camps is called AI for Designers. And so we're selling or hosting these online boot camps, and a lot of solo designers are joining, also agencies. And so I'm very fortunate to be able to see how some of these companies are becoming AI first. And hopefully I can share some of what I've seen work well and what doesn't work well during this event.
Fantastic, Ben. Thank you. And maybe now I guess we could open it up to a brief Q&A session. There is a mic button if someone wants to come up to the mic and enable that. You'll see the ask a question feature just above the audience. Looks like we got somebody here.
Hello, I believe that's me.
Hey, yeah, welcome.
Hi, Derek, and everyone else. My name is Jemin. I'm speaking from Alberta. And I'm just straight up asking a very simple question that I think might be the most relevant question. Is that it's like there's so many updates about AI almost every other week, every other day, to be honest. So how would a solo designer, a single person doing everything, wearing different hats, how would a solo designer make use of AI?
Go for it. I'd let anybody, maybe everybody can have some input. I'm probably in your same situation where I'm solo running Daily UI, solo running remotejobs.com, and I've used it to generate all kinds of fun images for campaigns. You can use it for generating things for social. That's how I've used it as a solo. And kind of like Max down here, I do have automation workflows set up for emails and things. That's one way I would use it, kind of as a solo cat. But I'll let anyone pipe in.
I can chip in. I love this framework of the dream, plan, and do, which is how you'd run your business. Like, think about the big ideas, the big intentions, and a tool like ChatGPT can help you define your intentions and be this sort of brainstorming partner. So that's one area that I think is kind of valuable if is trying to understand what you're really trying to do with maybe a client or for your own projects. The other thing that has even more value for me personally is the planning phase. So I'll just drop a lot of context about what I want to do, and then the AI will help me kind of say, okay, do this first, and then I'm the robot and the AI is kind of the manager. And then the last point is to do. I can actually give tasks, whether that's creating images like Derek mentioned, but also tons of different deliverables like, a PR statement, anything that has text, even videos. Once you know how to really talk or to this new employee as I can't remember who talked about AI as an employee instead of a tool, but I think that is also valuable. So, like broadly speaking, three main ways that I'm seeing people use AI.
Yeah, I think speaking to what Ben's talking about is the mindset shift of that AI as a teammate and not a tool. It's skewing towards being a more analogical partner. Now, that doesn't mean that AI can think analogically or can has some sort of like mind of its own. But if you just make that small mindset shift, sometimes it's all it takes for these like big leaps in your career or the way you think about work, the way you interact with your career, your work, your daily, to-dos, your tasks. Those small things can have a profound impact. They have for me. And I think to encapsulate everything Ben is saying is very much the teammate aspect. Like that it's not just like, oh, I'll open this up every once in a while because I have to get something done. It's actually asking it. More specifically, I would say, if you're a freelance designer, utilize it to give you a path for sharing and distributing your work. And that work being an extension of you, not just here's a cool picture of some design I did. Actually have a AI chat, a GPT help you to encapsulate who you are so that that work is a reflection of you. So if you share your work, you'll get more work. That's my whole philosophy. So hopefully those two things help.
Yeah, completely. Did you, Marco, Max, did you want to jump in? No pressure.
I think the comment that we all kind of keep beating is totally spot on, right? Think of it as another teammate. I always say that AI is like the best intern you could possibly hire, and so this might be really simple or really cute, but I'm a big sticky note guy. And so oftentimes if I'm feeling like I'm just not being productive today or this week, I will literally write at the top of my sticky note intern tasks. And then I'll just make a list of everything that I don't want to do or everything that I feel like I would ask an intern to do if I actually had an intern. And then every Friday I sit down and I look at those tasks and I say, okay, are any of these possible to automate or leverage AI for, to accomplish in any way, shape, or form? And so I think that mindset shift, like some of the other panelists here are talking about, is the most important thing. You just have to like consciously catch those tasks, those things that you just don't want to do, or you feel like you would hire someone else to do, whether it's an intern or a super experienced teammate. And so I think literally like old school pen and paper sticky note, writing that down. The problem that everyone gets into is you come up with the idea and then you spend an hour trying to figure out how to AI it, and then you lose track of time and you didn't get your to-do list done for the day. So that's why I just love the idea of like writing it down and then coming back to it every Friday, Saturday, whatever.
All right, I think we can jump to the next question. So we have our next person live in front of the mic. Go ahead and ask your question, Sherwin. Make sure you're unmuted. And then you can step down from the mic if you no longer want to ask your question by clicking a spot in the audience. All right, Penny, you're up. Penny, make sure to unmute yourself.
Uh, Hi, Rishabh here.
Hi, we can hear you.
Hello, everyone. I I completely hear what Ben, Wesley, and Max were trying to say. Like, treat it as a teammate, treat it as an intern, and all that. But my question is, why spend all this so much time and energy into AI when it is not good enough to perform tasks? Like, yeah, it is very good to sort information, learn something which you have never heard about and gain a very reasonable understanding. But when it comes to performing tasks, I think relying on AI is, I don't know, not the right turn for now, because I think it is still very evolving. Uh, a very common example I would give is like I wanted to, generate some leads. I got to know what kind of web places I should look, what kind of areas I should look. But ultimately, the main part, the tough part, was to be done by me. So when you guys say the same thing multiple times, like treat it as an teammate, treat it as an intern, I just want to know in what sense are you talking about? For me, it is just an extension of a Google search. This is how I think it is. So yeah.
Yeah, appreciate that context. All right. Does any of the panel members have anything to comment on there? Otherwise, I'll move to the next question.
Maybe I can touch on this one. So I'm just gonna talk from a personal experience. I mean, like the crowd from here, like can speak to this more. But personally, whenever I see some new tool, especially AI tool being like released, I'm not jumping on it right away. So I give myself some time, just because it always have that like fear of missing out whenever you see something new. So basically, what I try to do is like put it on the side and always dedicate some time like on the weekends, and then spend like an hour or two or three just literally playing with that tool, like trying whatever ideas I can, either be a technical thing, like if it helps with technical task, or something creative, like exploring certain directions, ideas, creating images, trying to replicate something and certain styles and stuff. And I do that like as soon as I'm comfortable with the tool. I see like that these like weekend projects help me actually incorporate it over the week naturally, so I don't have to think like, oh, where it can help me. Like I already have some ideas, like, oh, now I can use this for this and stuff like that. The thing is, I of course it's not like perfect or anything, but if you find these small buckets where you can really use it and it can really help you, I feel like it's gonna have such a great value that you're gonna be, when this is better than it is right now, like I'm gonna do so many stuff with that. So I feel like just using and learning these tools, like without forcing yourself, oh, if I fail, if it doesn't help me at first, just give yourself some time to get used to the tool, and like also explore it a bit more, or find some people who are like creating certain results that you really like with a certain tool, and be like, okay, how do you do that? And then you will get some of the ideas how you can use it, maybe for some of your like case scenarios. So yeah, I think hopefully that helps, but just yeah, going step by step, and I'm sure you will find some usage for any of the tools we're mentioning here.
Something I want to add, I think a lot of issues we see when we hear is that people do amazing things with ChatGPT or AI, and then we try ourselves and it doesn't work. Something that's very, I think, key to understand is within ChatGPT, you have access to different models, and these models evolve. The latest model right now that you have access to when you pay for ChatGPT is O3, and it's like a lot better than the one you'd get before O when you don't pay for ChatGPT. And something that's kind of important to realize, even inside the tools, like just the ChatGPT, your experience with ChatGPT can be very different, because if you're paying the $20 a month, you actually get access to a much more powerful tool, even though it's still ChatGPT. And so it's very it's kind of that might explain why there's such a dramatic difference between what people say and what they can actually do is trying out the latest models. So right now, ChatGPT has the O3, which is incredible, which for us, for example, it allowed use cases that we just couldn't do before, even though we were in ChatGPT, now we can do with the latest model. And so it's also a note that you can, and if you don't want to pay, for example, for the ChatGPT latest version, you can try with Gemini 2.5, which is also an incredible model. And you can access that for free if you want. So yeah, I just wanted to make that note as well.
Yeah, something to add specifically because my whole life is lead gen. Like all of my businesses, I sell leads. Like we sell millions of dollars a year worth of leads to all sorts of different companies, agencies included. And I get this question a lot from clients, prospective clients, people who read the newsletter, like how can I use AI to do lead gen? And the answer is you can't. You can't if you expect AI to generate your leads, like period, full stop for you. That's the answer. Lead gen is arguably top 2 hardest things for any service business. It's like harder than finding talent. Like lead gen is the hardest, top 2, let's call it, right? But AI can help you do specific things if you think of lead gen as an umbrella, right? So if you think of lead gen as the umbrella, how do we generate leads? We generate leads through a newsletter. So AI could help write that newsletter for you, come up with the topics, and help write the really compelling call to action. Maybe more compelling than you would write it, maybe not Blake, because he's a copywriting expert. But like if you say, hey, can you write a call to action in this newsletter using David Ogilvy, like the greatest copywriter of all times, best practices to help convert more of my newsletter subscribers into customers, you're gonna have a much better chance of converting all the people who read your newsletter into booking a call with you than if you just said, hey, if you want to book a call, if you want help with XYZ, click this link, right? So can AI generate leads for you? No. But can they help you do specific tasks that will lead to significantly more leads? Absolutely. And I can give 400 examples from writing cold email scripts to combing. There's a handful of tools now that can comb Reddit and Twitter to try to find posts of people looking for your exact service and could actually respond for you. So can AI just generate leads for you where they fall in your lap? Absolutely not. But if you think about it like an umbrella and you think about all the things that go into lead gen, AI can help with like 90% of that.
All right, let's jump to our next question member. Sherwin, go ahead and unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hi. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear
Got
you.
you, Sharon. Nice.
All right. So I'm fairly new into the design space. I'm right now I'm in a design program. So my question is with AI, the evolution of AI, it's forever growing right now, and then there's a lot of roles coming out of it. You have your AI designers, AI agent designers, there's vibe coding, there's vibe designing. Like what is the limits? What really should one focus on? Or is it eventually just going to filter out and then just come back down to like your main design positions? Like for instance, like you have your product designer, UX, UI, and then your service design and whatnot. Or will it just forever keep growing? Like where's the limits? Where does it stop? Where like now we're being very realistic with the use of AI within the design space in itself. It's I understand that like yeah, it's just growing going forward, but like eventually at some points it has to stop, right?
So
Sorry,
I've been
that was the question. Like the question's within there somewhere.
sorry. What was that last part you said?
I was saying no, that was the question. I know I just went silent there, but that essentially was my question. Like at what points does it stop?
Right. So I've been designing for about 18 years now, and I do product design and brand design, done strategy, built tools around strategy. I've done more or less everything, worked with a lot of interesting people. And what I've learned is that design is it's a discipline, and you can choose specific parts that you want to focus on in that as a discipline, as your calling, vocation, whatever. But designers, I think they're inherently typically creative people. Like it kind of comes out of them. They don't kind of force it on themselves. Like, oh, I gotta do this thing. It's something that's kind of born from within. It's like a very internalized profession. And so all of that to say is that my experience with what, or my what's the word I'm looking for? Prediction about what AI is going to do is that it's just going to make those people better designers. That's it. There isn't some fancy philosophical answer. It's that you are a designer that is going to continue to do design. You can choose a focus within that discipline, and you can utilize AI as a means by which to do that. And you'll be able to do that faster, perhaps, but it will not change design in that sense. I was listening to another talk and someone used the word AI slop goblins. That really stuck with me. And what they were referring to is that you'll be able to do more, but that doesn't mean that the output is going to be like some amazing, like new discovery, I guess, in design. It's just going to create more. You're going to have more microwaves, but there still is going to need to be chefs. So there is a kind of convergence where if it's just a billion microwaves, then you can have a billion, meals or whatever. But there still will need to be someone curating what is like the highest level of that output, or someone that is doing the highest level of that output. So the number of microwaves didn't put restaurants out of businesses. Very crude analogy. Every analogy limps, but I still do think that it will ring true now to 1,000 years from now. So yeah, hopefully that's not too amorphous or philosophical of an answer.
All right, let's move to our next question from Jason. You're up, Jason, unmute.
I'd love to hear a couple comments from from the panel. What was a project, task, or tool where it was kind of your conversion point, where you go, oh, holy crap, like this was so helpful, and what was that catalyst that really helped you go, for lack of better words, all in?
Maybe let's try to do this as a quick speed round and get a quick answer from each of our panelists up here. Start with Blake.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah. Early on, like 2021, you might know me as the former CMO of Copy AI. So all the way back in like 2020, 2021, I was converted just by being able to spar with ChatGPT. Well, ChatGPT didn't exist yet, but with OpenAI in the playground, and basically riff on copy ideas and stuff for the company that I was marketing within the company that I was marketing. Super meta, but that's my first conversion story.
My first like aha moment that this was real was I love that you can prompt and see an image come to life and keep tweaking it to get exactly what you want, and that was an amazing experience. I also love the fact that you can ask AI how to code something and it can spit back in minutes what would have taken hours or days of coding and going through things, and someone with no experience can say, okay, I don't know how to use that. What should I do with that code? And I'll say, oh, well, you need to put it in this folder, and here's how you do that, and here's how you hook up a database. And, a very simple guide, like a tutor that didn't exist, that's on demand anywhere you go. Very intelligent, and you can take screenshots and say, turn this into code, or do things you didn't know were possible. I asked Jim and I one time, I said, how do I start auto updating Google Sheets with data from the internet? And it said, oh, well, there's actually a way that you can use a URL scraper inside of Google Sheets, and it'll fetch information and update these rows automatically. here's how to do it. And because that's within the Google workspace, it says, here's a Google Sheet, try it. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So it's like having a tutor that showed you how to do it, and it was right in front of you to test drive. So that was my experience.
Another thing, maybe, but it's a much more personal experience. But that really made me click. I write every day, have a journal, and I always had that dream of conversing with my journal as if it was a sort of friend or therapist. Um, and at some point, I kept on trying uploading my journal to a different generative AI model. And at one point, it just worked with all that context, like 10 years of writing. And I started asking the questions about, what were my inner drives and how did my life change? And at some point, it just started giving me really good answers, and I started learning a lot about myself just by uploading so much content about my life. And it really felt like the her moment, where I was like, okay, I can just chat with my own brain. That made me realize what was going on, I guess.
I'll go as well. Mine was utilizing ChatGPT for brand strategy. So what would have taken an incredible amount of brain juice, I was able to just tell the GPT, here's everything that I went through with this client on a call or over multiple calls in what we call workshops. And we do this now for Work Inc. as well. And give me this, this, and this based on the greatest minds in this space. So Marty Neumeier, Ogilvy, like all these high level, Simon Dixon, like what would they do? How would they approach this? Once I understood that not only can it spit things out, but also can utilize other amazing minds, I was like, this is what would have taken me days and days hunched over a laptop is now done in minutes.
All right. Unfortunately, we're just about at time. I know there were some great questions waiting to be asked, but I will turn it over to Derek to close out.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us. I am just starting to drop links in the chat right now for following these guys on Twitter. We have Marketing Max, Marko Illic, Wes Bancroft, Blake Emal, Ben Essen. Everyone has links to their Twitter and their own websites, and you can follow them. Please. Oh, one of the guys at Rome just dropped a handy bullet list. You can click those links in the chat and follow each guy. And feel free to reach out to me as well if you have any questions, something that I could help with or connect you to one of these guys. But I do encourage everyone to go check each of the panelists' profile and see what they're working on. Everyone is really working on incredible things. And I love people that are curious and creative and pushing the envelope. And these 5 guys are a perfect example of that. And I just want to thank everyone for having us. Thank our sponsor, Rome, for putting the event together, organizing everyone, and containing my chaos here. And we have some Rome guides standing by and co-founders to guide tours. If anyone would like a tour of Rome to see what it would look like having a virtual HQ and having your own office where you can have an AI-powered inbox, team messaging, video calls, audio-only calls, screen recording. There's a whole suite of incredible tools, and they are standing by, and the link is in the chat. And thank you for attending, and have a great Friday and a great weekend.